I don't think this is the sound of whales, you know.
Is it an abrasive sound, or is it still a nice sound?
That sounds like someone doing an impression of whales. Is someone going, "Whoa"? Whatever it is, I don't like it. And if I was having to put up with this a lot, you know what I'd want to do, Andy?
Go a whaling, probably.
I would love to go a whaling. Hi, I'm Sam, and this is the thing where we rewrite Moby Dick a little bit, and this is Andy.
Hi, everybody.
I've set up hotkeys so I can give us just cut to
seamless
us.
transition.
Yeah, but I also don't know. We've not rehearsed this intro, so I don't know if you're going to be talking or what. So I'm just
Are you
going to
do it for like reactions when you say something controversial about Moby
yeah.
Dick?
If I'm going to go like, "Whoa, real talk, folks," and then I need another button that'll just punch in even closer. I could actually set that up right now, but I'm not going to because we've just got to tease that we're going to be adding production value and then never actually do it. That's what the people love.
Could you make it so it just really zooms in on your mouth, so when you have something very serious to say?
What? Like I need to go to the dentist?
Yeah.
I do need to go to the dentist. Actually, I've not been in ages.
Okay. Oh god, yeah.
I've gone off dentist. A few years ago, I went to the dentist. My mouth was feeling absolutely fine, if such a thing is possible. And do you know what they did, Andy? They gave me 2 fillings, which I did not need. Which I think should be counted as a crime, and I should be able to sue. One was just a little. I had like a cracked tooth. It wasn't bad. Typical Brit dental care. And like, yeah, we can sort of polish that one up. And there's a bit back here. It's just your tooth's a weird shape, and I just want to change it. And I was like, okay. And so they did that, and then I couldn't close my mouth. My teeth were the wrong shape.
But on the plus side, the next time your dentist looked inside your mouth, he was like, "Oh yeah, that looks nicer. That back tooth that no one else is going to see."
Yeah, never went back. And they said, "Oh, it'll be on NHS, so it'll be all right." And I'm assuming NHS means free, and it turns out it just means a few £100, which I did not have at the time.
So that was a lot of fun. Few £100 for them to fill something where there was nothing to fill, and then you couldn't close your mouth.
And that's why this is an anti-dentist project.
You heard it here first, chat. This has secretly been a way of
We're anti-lawyer, anti-dentist, anti-rich people.
I thought we landed on pro-lawyer by the end of it.
Pro a lot of the lawyers that we know in person. Anti.
Yeah, I mean, if we're going to keep
anti the stereotype.
If we're going to keep slandering celebrities like this, we probably need to be pro-lawyer.
That's a good point. Very good thinking, Andy. You should be my legal counsel. That's good thinking.
Allow me to just get out my ticker to top up the costs while I'm sitting here.
Fucking hell, yeah. No, you've been too easy to contact to be a lawyer. Anyway, we should probably hop on with this. If this is your first time joining us, this is where we take an old book called Moby Dick by a fella called Herman Melville, and we make it a little bit easier to understand by rewriting it so that it's like a normal person telling you this story, even though it was written back in the days when everything was really weird, from the point of view of a guy called Ishmael, who is an absolute bellend. We're looking to keep in that bellend factor a little bit, maybe take out some of the more blatant racism, but just keep in a sense of disgust that the reader should hold the main character with. So
he's growing on me, actually.
Has he?
A little bit. I think it's because I've started thinking of him in context of other stories, where I'm like, this story could really do with an Ishmael.
Some guy who just complains all the time and stares at things.
Well, that's the thing. He stares at things. He also like always settles on. It doesn't really matter though, does it?
Like, he'll go off on one. He'll figure it out, And then I'll think,
Yeah.
but what do I know? It's a big world.
Yeah, it's the equivalent of like if the detective in the detective piece was like, and the murderer is so and so, but it doesn't really matter, though, does it? I mean, we all make mistakes.
Very non-committal.
Meanwhile, has anybody seen this painting?
What the fuck? All right, cool. So, I believe so. I will preface this chapter. This one and the next one are apparently quite short, so we'll look at doing a 2-chapter special. But I have read ahead a little bit, Andy, and as we will get to in the recap, things are getting a little bit saucy between Ishmael and the best character in the book, Queequeg. So I think I've done the last couple of recaps, so I'm willing to entertain the notion of the coin toss, and then we're going to do a recap. And you know that thing they do on TV where the recap always spoils what's actually going to happen because it's like 300 episodes ago, this character was here, and then they said, you'll never see us again. It's like, all right, so we're going to see them again then, aren't we? So we've got to do this recap to try and tee up what's coming next in this sequence. Because what's coming next in this sequence is very tender and sensual. And just a couple of best buds having fun in bed.
So if it were this TV series, it would just all be close-ups of Ishmael and Queequeg smiling at each other.
Yes.
Okay.
So we've got to really hone in on that recap. But yeah, we'll do the coin toss. Do you have a coin? I don't have a coin.
I've got a bottle cap again.
Right. I'll have the inside of the bottle cap.
Okay. I don't know where all these bottle caps keep coming from on my desk. Okay, you want the inside.
I'll have the inside.
The recesses of the bottle cap.
Mm.
It's head, so fuck.
That's you.
I'm doing it.
All right.
Yeah. Can I say fuck on your stream, Sam?
You can say fuck as much as you like, Andy.
Oh, thank goodness.
I'd encourage it. Okay, so I will count you in. I'm going to play a little bit of appropriate background music, and then let's recount the story and the whirlwind romance of Ishmael and Queequeg. In 3. Wait, no, I'll do the TV countdown where I don't actually say 3, 2, 1. So in 5, 4.
Well, fuck. We join Ishmael as he's seeking to join a whaling ship. First by heading to New Bedford and then hoping to head on to Nantucket. But the thing you need to know about Ishmael is that he's a lonely guy. He's not got much money in his pocket, and sometimes he gets frustrated with the world, just so much so that he has to try knocking people's hats off. But maybe things are about to change. Maybe his life's about to go in a better new direction. And that's why he finds himself at Peter Coffin's in the Spouter, I believe.
Yeah.
Finding a little bed for the night in the cheapest place that he can find, and not really having any expectations about where to sleep. In fact, he nearly sleeps on a bench at some point, but then he's told, well, there's this guy Queequeg. He's got this room over here. You wouldn't mind sharing a room with him, would you, Ishmael? Of course, Ishmael's a little hesitant at first. This is a stranger. What could happen? But eventually he accepts. I don't know what the music is, by the way, so I'm a bit nervous about this, but I can't wait to find out. And then immediately they don't hit it off to start with. Queequeg almost murders him, taking him for a stranger that's hidden under his sheets. Classic, classic first impressions problem. But after a bit of reassurance,
Just a
they
rom-com.
spend the night together. Yeah, exactly. It's a Mr. Darcy. It's like Mr. Darcy. The first time I saw Mr. Darcy, he charged into my room and tried to kill me with an axe. That's what we're going for. Anyway, they had a bit of a cuddle. Nothing more happened. And in the morning, they became, better friends. Ishmael began to appreciate his new bedmate. He went to the church. He kept catching Queequeg's eye, who was laughing during the service about some guy who gets eaten by a whale. And then they've decided to go back to their rooms, where Ishmael's had a really close look at Queequeg and decided that they're best friends. And I think that's where we've caught up. Oh, also,
But not
they're
just best friends, Andy. They're married.
Yes, they got friend married, and I think they're going to try and join a ship together, which is where the expression "shipping people" comes from. I believe.
No.
Herman Melville invented shipping.
You heard it here first, maybe after, maybe not first, but this is trends. Please put us in your tumblers.
Hashtag ship.
Shipmates.
Yes.
Alright, that's enough. By the way, the credit for the music, that was the original EastEnders theme by Anita Dobson with the lyrics, Anyone Can Fall in Love. We're near the end, so I'm just going to let this play out at full volume. Let us all appreciate it.
Okay. I would sing along, but I can't hear it.
No. Probably for the best. Absolute banger. That'd win Eurovision. That's the point. We've not even mentioned the big E of the day. That it's Eurovision. Have you been watching it at all?
I definitely watched it. No, I haven't watched any
Oh,
Eurovision.
Andy.
I'm the one person who doesn't, and I don't know. It seems like it should be made for me, but I just don't pick up on it for some reason.
It's good. I'd recommend. Anyway, so we'll get cracking. Here we go with Chapter 11, Nightgown. And I've already warned you, it's content warning, things are going to get pretty hot and heavy under the counterpane, which is old word for bedsheet.
Are things also going to get, is there going to be any offensive language or anything else we should worry about?
Not that I saw, but
Okay.
I only read the first paragraph and a half.
Yeah.
So we landed on, how it is I know not, but there is no place like a bed for confidential disclosures between friends. Man and wife, they say, there open the very bottom of their souls to each other, and some old couples often lie and chat over old times till nearly morning. Thus then, in our hearts' honeymoon, lay I and Queequeg, a cosy, loving pair. And this is the immediate follow-on. So, Andy, take it away.
Chapter 11, Nightgown. We had lain thus in bed, chatting and napping at short intervals, and Queequeg now and then affectionately throwing his brown tattooed legs over mine, and then drawing them back, though entirely sociable and free and easy were we, when at last, by reason of our confabulations, what little nappishness remained in us altogether departed, and we felt like getting up again, though daybreak was yet some way down the future.
Right, so they're getting their legs all tangled.
Yeah, but they're enjoying it, though.
They're having a great time, and then suddenly they don't want to sleep anymore, so they decide to not sleep. Alright, so we'd been in bed for a good while, chatting, giggling, wrapping our legs around each other as a joke between friends. As a joke between friends. But each time we touched, we felt less like sleeping.
Emma helpfully says they're scissoring.
I mean, they might be.
Should we change the chapter title?
Scissor Bros. Throwing legs over mine, then drawing them back, going like a tee, and then bringing them back. I don't know. So entirely sociable and free and easy were we. What's a confabulation, Andy?
Confabulation. Is it like a complication? Is it like synonymous with that?
Ah, they're getting worked up. Each time we touched, each time we tickled, each time we laughed, we felt less like sleeping. Okay. Right.
Oh, a Confabulation is a type of memory error in which gaps in a person's memory are unconsciously filled with fabricated, misinterpreted, or distorted information.
What
I
the
don't think
fuck?
that definitely isn't how it's being used in
They
this
touched each
context.
other so much they gave each other amnesia.
I've I can't remember what I was doing before I was touching legs with you.
Okay. Well,
Okay,
that one, that's a weird one. We'll just keep it as a mysterious word.
Hmm.
Yes, we became very wakeful, so much so that our recumbent position began to grow wearisome, and by little and little we found ourselves sitting up, the clothes well tucked around us, leaning against the headboard with our 4 knees drawn up close together, and our 2 noses bending over them, as if our knee pans were warming pans. We felt very nice and snug. I don't need to change that sentence. The more so since it was chilly out of doors, indeed out of bedclothes too, seeing that there was no fire in the room. The more so, I say, because truly to enjoy bodily warmth, some small part of you must be cold, for there is no quality in this world that is not what it is merely by contrast. Nothing exists in itself. If you flatter yourself that you are all over comfortable, and have been so a long time, you cannot be said to be comfortable anymore. I don't make the rules. But if, like Queequeg and me in the bed, the tip of your nose or the crown of your head be slightly chilled, why then, indeed, the general consciousness you feel most delightfully and unmistakably warm. For this reason, a sleeping apartment should never be furnished with a fire, which is one of the luxurious discomforts of the rich. For the height of this sort of deliciousness is to have nothing but the blanket between... I love how he just keeps using the word deliciousness like that. Is to have nothing but the blanket between you and your snugness and the cold of the outer air. Then there you lie like the one warm spark in the heart of an Arctic crystal.
Whoa, what a paragraph.
Fucking hell. Yeah, he's going off on one. But the main part...
What a love letter to just being under a blanket.
The thing that gets me, I think my camera shot's too tight here, but it's them saying that they're just like this. Ah, fuck, my chair's too small. They're just curled up into balls like this, wrapping their knees round. And just snuggling up like 2 little cannonballs under a bed. Yeah. Okay. A full ball huddle. So, right. So, they didn't feel like sleeping, and it took them so long to try and get to sleep that they became uncomfortable lying down. So they hunched up and got huddled, and then were like, it's cold, but it's also warm.
And being a bit cold is super cozy.
Okay. Okay, there's plenty to go on here. Oh, that's nice. Right. We fidgeted.
Are you going to get the bit of theory in about... Oh, Freddy's here to say hello as well. Come here, Freddy.
Yes!
There he is.
What do you think Freddy would say about you need to be a little bit cold to be a little bit warm?
I don't know if he'd agree with that. I think he likes to be a bit warm to be a bit warm.
Warm all over.
Yeah.
Does he not sample the deliciousness of being a bit cold at the same time?
I don't know if he would regard it as such.
We fidgeted around a little bit until we ended up with our knees tucked all the way up, sitting against the back. Is it called a backboard in the bed? Headboard. Sitting against the headboard and continuing to chat away. The room was bloody freezing, but the warmth of the the warmth of the blanket and Queequeg, what's the blanket and Queequeg? Yeah, that just works. Blanket and Queequeg was lovely. You know, there's a lot to be said for being a bit cold as well as a bit warm. Rich people, who I hate and are scum, will tell you that it's a good idea to have a fire on in the room. To sleep somewhere warm. That sounds like comfort, doesn't it? And that I say no. It sounds like you're trying to kill me with how boring it is being warm all over. Have they never appreciated the sheer deliciousness of sticking out a toe or a nose into a freezing cold room and just bask in the difference of depth? I can't fucking type today. Temperatures going on throughout your body. Oh, there was a line I wanted to steal. We felt very nice and snug. Yeah, I need that.
I like his nothing exists in itself and everything is contrasts.
True.
It's pretty deep there.
Oh, wait. We felt very nice and snug. The room was bloody freezing. Oh, yeah, and then there's the more so since it was so chilly. Yeah. Nice and snug. Even more so since it was so cold in the room. While the room was bloody freezing, the warmth. Okay, I think we've bridged the gap between old and new. Is there anything important I've left out? We got the deliciousness. For this reason, a sleeping apartment should never be luxurious discomforts of the rich. I need to get that line in there. Yeah, as I said, for being a bit cold as well as a bit warm. No, you know what? It's fine. Let's move on.
You got that, yeah.
Yeah. Okay. Next paragraph is you.
Okay. This is like a 2-paragraph chapter, isn't it?
Nice.
We had been sitting in this crouching manner for some time when all at once I thought I would open my eyes. For when between sheets, whether by day or by night, and whether asleep or awake, I have a way of always keeping my eyes shut, in order the more to concentrate the snugness of being in bed. Because no man can ever feel his own identity aright except his eyes be closed, as if darkness were indeed the proper element of our essences, though light be more congenial to our clayey part. Upon opening my eyes, then, going out of my own pleasant and self-created darkness into the imposed and coarse outer gloom of the unilluminated 12 o'clock at night, I experienced a disagreeable revulsion. Nor did I at all object to the hint from Queequeg that perhaps it were best to strike a light, seeing that we were so wide awake, and besides, he felt a strong desire to have a few quiet puffs from his tomahawk. Be it said that though I had felt such a strong repugnance to his smoking in the bed the night before, yet see how elastic our stiff prejudices grow when love once comes to bend them. For now I liked nothing better than to have Queequeg smoking by me, even in bed, because he seemed to be full of such serene household joy then. I no more felt unduly concerned for the landlord's policy of insurance. I was only alive to the condensed, confidential comfortableness of sharing a pipe and a blanket with a real friend. With our shaggy jackets drawn about our shoulders, we now passed the tomahawk from one to the other, till slowly there grew over us a blue hanging tester of smoke, illuminated by the flame of the new lit lamp.
Okay.
Still not sharing any of his own tobacco, is he?
And he's not. He's a fucking hanger-on.
And he's definitely in love with Queequeg now. That's
100% confirmed. Yeah.
nice. Yeah.
That shipping manifest is locked in.
Yeah.
Well, yeah, JT. Oh no, it was Emma. Yeah, raises a very good point.
Yeah.
The staring at things man had his eyes closed and quite likes to close his eyes so he can focus on how much he's in bed.
I do like I do like that idea where it's like I could be enjoying being in bed more.
Oh man. After a while of sitting around like this, I decided to open my eyes. An unusual choice for a man like me, who usually likes to have his eyes closed while in bed. It helps me to appreciate how snug and warm, but sometimes cold, I am. It helps me. It helps me. It helps me to appreciate how snug and warm, but sometimes cold. Sometimes also cold. But sometimes also cold I am while I'm all wrapped up in there. You might be surprised to hear that I enjoy closing my eyes. What with how much I usually walk around with them fixed open, staring and thinking about things. But it's true. Because no man can ever feel his identity or right except his eyes be closed. If darkness were the proper element of our essences, blah 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 blah. The light be more congenial to our clayey part.
Yeah.
I like the word clayey.
I like him referring to his body as the clay part.
It's true. There's something nice about that proper darkness you get with closed eyes. It was much better than this half-assed midnight darkness that was all over the room now. I hated it. And that's when Queequeg says that we should start a lighter. Yeah, I experienced a disagreeable revulsion. Nor at all did I object to the hint from Queequeg. Okay, I hated it. I must not have kept quiet about this fact because Queequeg suggested that we light a lamp. What with us being so awake and all. We did so.
I imagine that Ishmael thinks he's being subtle, but like...
It's so dark! God!
He's just there kicking the covers off and folding his arms.
I like that it's cold! Okay. We did so.
I mean, for Queequeg, who also seems to have it together, he's got plenty of cash. He's a profitable harpooner, so he's actually like in demand. And he's like, you know who I want to go to sea with? This guy.
This fucking dick. Queequeg said that you fancied smoke. And asked if I'd like to join him. We did. I did. I want to get the "we did so" repetition in. I'd like to, if I'd like to smoke together. Yeah. To smoke together with him. I did. So we did. Is that too Dan Brownie?
I like it.
Okay.
It sounds just better and asked if I like to smoke together. I did. So we did. I think I like it for the tone of this chapter.
You
Or
might...
maybe just I did. ...
Yeah, that's better. It's got the implication.
Mm.
Oh, thanks, guy with random numbers. I do want to become famous. Please help me buy more users at cut.live bigfollows.com. How do I report or ban?
Is that thebigfollows.com?
It's the Big Follows. I can't believe we've got shouted out.
Oh. Well, I said we'd hit the big time eventually.
Right. Okay, you might recall a while back I said I wasn't so keen on sharing a bed with a smoking man. But you know what changes opinions and prejudices? That's right. Love. Queequeg and I shared that pipe like... What are things that share a pipe like? Shared that pipe like a... We can't make any complex plumbing references because non-plumbers might be reading it. And I also don't think they had complex plumbing back in the day.
Wait, how does this lend itself to complex? Oh, because
sharing
it's got
a pipe, like
in
an outflow pipe.
Oh.
Like I say, it might not be a very good one.
I mean, does he use a simile for what sharing a pipe is like? Is this something we can build on?
North Americans, no, they just like to smoke.
I mean, yeah, he just says they share a pipe and a blanket, like real friends.
I shared that pipe like I shared that blanket with great enthusiasm. The landlord could go get fucked with his insurance. We were here for a good time, not a safe time.
I get the impression, like, of all the landlords who probably wouldn't care about the place burning down, it's probably Peter Coffin. He's literally whittling the place to pieces.
Under people's feet.
It would be a shame if somebody set fire to all these wood chips covering the entire end. Do you think that's what this place is?
I mean, it's in a massive state. Yeah, it's in a big state of disrepair. It'd be cheaper to start from scratch. Nothing better than the quickest Pokemon, even behind bed. Is full of such joy. Yep. We're here for a good time. Sharing a pipe and a blanket with a real friend with our shaggy jackets shown about our soldiers.
I think we actually need to write this play where this innkeeper is trying to get the most hopeless guest to stay in his inn so that they'll accidentally burn it down and then he can claim the insurance.
I think that has to have been done. That sounds too like timeless to not have been done already. Not a safe time. So we smoked, chatted, tickled, and dozed in our little cloud of smoke until... Actually, what is the until?
That's going to be the next paragraph.
Oh, well, let's just get to that.
We're finished with the smoke hanging over them.
Yeah. Okay. Whether it was this undulating tester rolled the savage away to far distant scenes. Whether it was that this undulating tester... What's a tester?
I think it's this cloud of smoke.
Experience. Oh, okay. Rolled the savage away to far distant scenes, I know not. But he now spoke of his native island, and eager to hear his history, I begged him to go on and tell it. He gladly complied, though at the time I but ill comprehended not a few of his words. Yet subsequent disclosures, when I had become more familiar with his broken phraseology, now enable me to present the whole story, such as it may prove in the mere skeleton I give. All right,
he's
so
really setting up for the fact where he's like, I've probably fucked up this story. But here it is.
There was no little cloud of smoke until Queequeg blathered. Queequeg started blurting out his entire backstory. We were very high and tired, and I didn't really understand most of the words or references. But I'll recount that story the best I can right now. And
Also,
I don't think we need to call that chapter Nightgown. I think that's a misnomer because no one's wearing a nightgown. Where is the nightgown? So this is going to be called... what would we call this chapter? The last... Okay, let's just call it Honeymoon. Honeymoon, the friendship honeymoon.
Honeymoon bedtimes.
The friendship honeymoon. Yeah, because we just ended on a pair of cozy loving buddies, and it is their heart's honeymoon. Yeah. The friendship honeymoon. Yeah, that's perfect.
I've just been admiring the fact. So the next chapter is similarly short. It looks like it's about a page. This is the entire biography of Queequeg.
The best character.
Bearing in mind that Ishmael can spend like an entire chapter
talking about a painting he can't understand.
He can't understand. But Queequeg's entire life until this point is like, yeah, this pretty much sums it up.
Okay, chapter 12, Queequeg's entire life story.
Yeah.
Okay.
I guess I will start. I'll do both those first paragraphs. Sure. Queequeg was a native of Rockavoco, which I think is a made-up place, an island far away to the west and south. It is not drawn in any map. True places never are. Whoa! What a power play!
Jeez.
I made this place up, but everything's bullshit anyway, really, isn't it?
This is a very bad attitude for a sailor.
Yeah. Yeah, professional sailor, by the way.
Wait, is this the book that invented the real treasure was the friends we made along the way? Because that's the same level.
I guess the real blubber was survival. When a new hatched savage, running wild about his native woodlands in a grass clout, followed by the nibbling goats as if he were a green sapling, even then in Queequeg's ambitious soul lurked a strong desire to see something more of Christendom than a specimen whaler or two. His father was a high chief, king, his uncle a high priest, and on the maternal side he boasted aunts who were the wives of unconquerable warriors. There was excellent blood in his veins, royal stuff, though sadly vitiated, I fear, by the cannibal propensity he nourished in his untutored youth.
Okay, so that first section, we can just take that. That's fine. Oh, and we'll change west and south to southwest.
That makes sense.
Because that's just confusing to a modern audience. All right. True places never are. Okay. I don't like the term new hatched savage.
No, I don't. I mean, anytime he uses savage, that's a big flag. But when he says new hatched as well, also he's comparing, saying, accusing him of being chased around by goats all the
time. Yeah, even when Queequeg was a little cannibal over on Cannibal Island, being chased around by goats. And presumably other cannibals.
Do you think that Queequeg said he was chased around by goats all the time, or do you think
I think that's Ishmael inferring.
Yeah.
Presumably other cannibals. Wait, by goats trying to eat his grass skirt, and presumably other cannibals trying to eat him. He had always been transfixed by the glimpses and possibly tastes of the we'll just call them Christian sailors, because I don't know where this is geographically, so if he's far away to the southwest and this is in America, then if we say that they're Western sailors, that could just mean, like, I don't know, Indians. I don't know how this is working.
Yeah, it's like Western to who?
Yeah, I don't know where the fuck is anything right now. What are the glimpses of the Christian sailors? Glimpses and possibly the tastes of the Christian sailors. And he had wanted to learn more. His family were a big deal. Kings, priests, tough guys with tough wives, all the cool, all the best people you could hope to be in such a society. Excellent blood in his veins. Yeah, I think we've covered that.
Yeah. Covered royalty eat people.
I mean, royalty probably do eat people, Andy, regardless of where you're from.
Yeah.
So, I mean, you can have anything.
If they're allowed to eat swan, then what else are they allowed to eat?
If I'm not allowed to eat a swan,
yeah,
all bets are off. Does this come back to that MF Doom song where he talks about the other white meat? Is that swan?
Yeah, that line got me as well.
What is the other white meat? Because get me if I'm wrong, but the other white meat is people, right?
I guess so.
And then the other white meat, orcs.
Swan.
There's gotta be swans. Okay.
There's a lot of allusions in his work.
It's good stuff. Just reading the lyrics is just an absolute mind bender. Big fan. Anyway.
Does it make translating Moby Dick seem a lot easier?
No. Okay. A Sag harbour ship visited his father's bay, and Queequeg sought passage to Christian lands. But the ship, having her full complement of seamen, spurned his suit, and not all the king his father's influence could prevail. But Queequeg vowed a vow. Alone in his canoe, he paddled off to a distant strait, which he knew the ship must pass through when she quitted the island. On one side was a coral reef, on the other a low tongue of land, covered with mangrove thickets that grew out into the water. Hiding his canoe still afloat among these thickets, with its prow seaward, he sat down in the stern, paddle low in hand, and when the ship was gliding by, like a flash he darted out, gained her side, with one backward dash of his foot, capsized and sank his canoe, climbed up the chains, and throwing himself at full length upon the deck, grappled a ring-bolt there, and swore not to let it go, though hacked in pieces.
He's been playing Sea of Thieves.
Yeah, Jesus Christ, what a move. All right. One day, a ship came to town. Queequeg wanted to get on it. But the guys on the ship were like, no thanks, we're not taking cannibal children crew members on right now. At this time, that's the one, isn't it? At this time. So, Queequeg set up a genius canoe ambush.
Probably copy and paste some of his ambush, couldn't you, I guess?
I probably could, actually.
Is it clear enough?
I think so. Yeah, it is. We've got to fix that end bit, though.
Yeah.
Yeah, we'll take it from when the ship was gliding by. Alright. He paddled out into the path he knew it would take, hid in some kind of sea tree. That's what a mangrove is, right?
Yeah, it works. Actually, yeah.
Okay, what the fuck is a ring bolt?
I mean, I picture it as literally like a ring of metal, which is probably attached to the deck so you can tie things to it, but I could be wrong.
Do you have is it banisters on ships? I'm just going to call it a railing. Is it railing if it's wood?
A ring bolt, a bolt with a ring attached for fitting a rope to. So it's literally just like, like a door knocker. That's what I'm picturing. Yeah.
Grabbed one of those big ring-like door knocker things they have on boats.
I'm a sailor, by the way.
And swore not to let it go. Oh, we don't need the part about though hacked in pieces. They're talking about hacking him to pieces?
Yeah, it's like, even if you hack me to pieces,
wow.
I don't care. I'm just going to hang on.
Even if they hacked him to pieces. Okay.
In vain, the captain threatened to throw him overboard, suspended a cutlass over his naked wrists. Queequeg was the son of a king, and Queequeg budged not. Struck by his desperate dauntlessness and his wild desire to visit Christendom, the captain at last relented and told him he might make himself at home. By this fine young savage, this sea prince of Wales, never saw the captain's cabin. But this, yeah. They put him down among the sailors and made a whaleman of him. But like Tsar Peter, content to toil in the shipyards of foreign cities, Queequeg disdained no seeming ignominy. If therefore ignominy, I really struggle to say it. If thereby he might happily gain the power of enlightening his untutored countrymen. For at bottom, as he told me, he was actuated by a profound desire to learn among the Christians, and arts whereby to make his people still happier than they were, more than that, still better than they were. But alas, the practices of whalemen soon convinced him that even Christians could be both miserable and wicked, infinitely more so than all his father's heathens. It's good point. Arrived at last in old Sag Harbor and seeing what the sailors did there, and then going on to Nantucket and seeing how they spent their wages in that place. Also, poor Queequeg gave it up for lost. Thought he, it's a wicked world in all meridians.
Oh,
I'll die a pagan.
oh man,
What a story.
that's a
I
great
do, I
story.
do like I spent all my wages in that place. It's just-
The great age of sailors has begun.
yeah.
All right.
Can you find my treasure?
I'm just gonna get these little sampler paragraphs that I'm just gonna keep in. So the practices of whalemanship comes from that even Christians could be miserable and wicked, and poor Queequeg gave it up for lost. It's a wicked world in all meridians. I'll die a pagan. All right. So eventually, the captain gave up on threatening to chop Queequeg's hands off and told him to make himself at home. But even though he was a prince... Do we keep in the line about a sea Prince of Wales?
I quite like the Sea Prince of Wales.
A prince.
I like the bit about Tsar Peter as well.
Just like the Prince of Wales. Ah, because he becomes a Prince of Wales.
Oh,
Ah, very good. Okay, no, we can do something better with this. Yeah, that's right. Better than Melville. Even though he was a prince, he wasn't allowed into the captain's fancy bed and had to make do sleeping with the normal sailors. He wanted to learn all about Christianity and all the great advances and happinesses I want to call it Western society, but I don't know where we are. All the great advances and happinesses that it held. But instead, he just learned a lot about whaling. I'm going to capitalize whaling. He went from being just like the Prince of Wales to being the Prince of Wales. Which is the sort of joke that doesn't work so well unless it's written down. Ha! Right, so... he didn't complain, though. He was like that other royal guy. What was it? Tsar
Peter. And I did look him up. Yeah, apparently he wanted to learn more about boats, so he worked in a bunch of yards around the world.
Learn about boats, and so just went around working in shipyards. A man I can respect because he knows books are only filled with lies. You have to learn things with your hands, eyes, and heart, not just your brain. Okay, and then we get to... Right.
It's going to link into how he learnt stuff about whalemen and he didn't like it.
Yeah. But while he learned a lot about whales, he also learned more about the civilized man. Coming here with the lofty goal of bringing back a culture bomb to improve everyone's lives on his island. Quick.
Sorry, you go. I was just
This book is filled with lies, Emma, yes.
Is this book filled with lies? Yes.
All books are filled with lies.
That's the meta.
Queequeg, it's just who tells the most effective lie and which one you prefer. Queequeg quickly came to learn that... Okay, yeah. Learn that even Christians could be both miserable and wicked. Infinitely more so than all his father's heathens. So, Queequeg might have been disappointed for a bit. He saw what people spent money on. He saw what people did to other people. And he gave it up for lost. He thought... Let's just retune that so it's a he thought. Let's do it a he said. He said, it's a wicked world in all meridians. I'll die a pagan. Okay, I'll take these next two.
Cool.
By hints I asked him whether he did not propose going back.
Oh wait, you've skipped one.
I have anta. Okay. And thus an old idolater at heart, he yet lived among these Christians, wore their clothes and tried to talk their gibberish. Hence the queer ways about him, though now sometime from home. I mean, I can just lift that.
Yeah.
Okay. By hints, I asked him whether he did not propose going back and having a coronation, since he might now consider his father dead and gone.
Nice, Ishmael.
Wow, very good.
Yeah.
He being very old and feeble at the last accounts. He answered no, not yet, and added that he was fearful Christianity, or rather Christians, had unfitted him for ascending the pure and undefiled throne of 30 pagan kings before him. But by and by, he said, he would return, as soon as he felt himself baptized again. For the nonce, however... That means for the time being, I assume.
I hope so.
Yeah. Unless he's sailing to go and murder a nonce. For the nonce, however, he proposed to sail about and sow his wild oats in all 4 oceans. They had made a harpooner of him, and that barbed iron was in lieu of a scepter now. Oh.
Nice.
Okay.
I love Ishmael's like, on the Earth, Europe, maybe your dad's dead.
Helpfully, I suggested that he might go back home, since his dad was probably dead. He could be a king. Do you capitalize king like that? I don't think so. He could be a king. Queequeg thanked me for this observation, but said that Christianity, Christianity or Christiani? How do you fucking spell Christianity? Christianity had soiled his soul, and that he was no longer fit to return to a place that is actually good. He couldn't do that to his people. Not until he'd managed to somehow unfuck himself from all this stupid shit we have over here. I said fair enough. Oh yeah, and then he's talking about he went on saying that he was content to sow his seeds all over the ocean, the four oceans, four seas. What is it? All
oceans.
four. Oh, is that all there is? All over the four oceans. And instead of a royal scepter that some normal, boring king might wave around, he'd be a king of the oceans, waving a harpoon instead.
Nice.
I mean, Melville put it way better than that, but this will do as well.
It's still a good image.
Alright,
I
this
asked
one's you.
him what might be his immediate purpose touching his future movements. He answered, to go to sea again in his old vacation. Upon this, I told him that whaling was my own design and informed him of my intention to sail out of Nantucket, as being the most promising port for an adventurous whaleman to embark from. He at once resolved to accompany me to that island, ship aboard the same vessel, get into the same watch, the same boat, the same mess with me, in short, to share my every hap, with both my hands in his, boldly dip into the potluck of both worlds. To all this I joyously assented, for besides the affection I now felt for Queequeg, he was an experienced harpooner, and as such could not fail to be of great usefulness to one who, like me, was wholly ignorant of the mysteries of whaling, though well acquainted with the sea, as known to merchant seamen.
Okay.
Pause at that.
Yeah.
So,
What are you gonna...
Ishmael doesn't know what he's doing.
No. What are you gonna do now then? What's next? I said.
Emma says, bit needy.
It is a bit. I think I will go away. Both hands. Whaling again. He said, I would like to go whaling. I said. He looked at me. The dim lamplight dappling across his tattooed, nightmarishly handsome face. We will go whaling together. I will go with you. Sign up on the same ship, the same watch, share the same place at dinner, the same hammock. Is it hammocks now? The same hammock.
I mean, I don't think they actually do share hammocks, but
will we let go of each other's hands? He seemed really intense about this. He seemed
Maybe.
really intense about this. And even though I liked Queequeg a whole bunch, the pragmatist in me was saying, oh wow, Ishmael, you genius, you. Look at this. You've made best friends with a guy who knows whaling, which you're crap at. You don't know anything about it. You only know how to go on a boat. That's like half the job. Nobody would hire you on your own. Why did you ever think this would work? Lucky Ishmael.
I think you found Ishmael's inner voice.
It's just Gollum.
Yeah.
Okay. Just to reiterate, though, I am a sailor who is good at boats. Please forgive that previous outburst. Okay, last part.
Last part. This is you.
His story being ended with his pipe's last dying puff. Queequeg embraced me, pressed his forehead against mine, and blowing out the light, we rolled over from each other, this way and that, and very soon were sleeping. Okay, quick question.
Yeah, I think it's probably going to be the same question I have, but you go first.
There's my close-up. So is he blowing out the lamp by forehead to forehead, and then turning away, and or is it? Is it one of those? Is he not moving his head from that position?
That's exactly what I was going to ask. Yeah, he's holding him here, and then he's just like the corner of his mouth. Is just like...
Yeah,
which is a hell of a trick.
I mean, he's a pipe smoker. He could even be blowing through the pipe for all we know.
It's like that scene in Lord of the Rings where they're blowing smoke rings. Very touching.
Okay, I mean, we can actually just lift most of that, so let's just pop that in.
Yeah.
But there's his story being ended with his pipes last time. His story ended with his pipes last time puff. Queequeg embraced me, pressed his forehead against mine, and blew out the light from the corner of his mouth while we were still touching foreheads. Just because I think it's a funny image.
God.
We rolled over
was
from...
just asking... Oh, sorry, you go.
Okay, yeah.
You go.
Rolled over from each other this way and that, and very soon we were sleeping. Yeah, and that's 2 chapters done in basically under an hour. I mean, it's slightly over, but it's similar. It's almost under an hour.
Pretty impressive.
Yeah.
Gonna get through this in no time. Yeah, I think JT was asking whether they share the same head as well. I don't know if he means by that whether they share
The
the
shrunken
same sea
head.
toilet,
Oh,
or whether they all the shrunken head that he gave to Ishmael,
pass back.
or physically that they keep pressing her forehead so much
They
that
do keep doing that. Okay, let's read through. This shouldn't take us too long.
Cool. We've got 2 chapters. Do we do a chapter each?
Yeah, let's do that.
Okay.
You take the first one, I guess.
Cool. So, chapter 11, The Friendship Honeymoon. We'd been in bed for a good while, chatting, giggling, wrapping our legs around each other as a joke between friends. And each time we touched, each time we tickled, each time we laughed, we felt less like sleeping. We fidgeted round a bit, until we ended up with our knees tucked all the way up, sitting against the headboard and continuing to chat away. We felt very nice and snug, even more so since it was so cold in the room. While the room was bloody freezing, the warmth of the blanket and Queequeg was lovely. You know, there's a lot to be said for being a bit cold as well as a bit warm. Rich people, who I hate and are scum, will tell you that it's a good idea to have a fire on in the room, to sleep somewhere warm. That sounds like comfort, doesn't it? And to that I would say, no. It sounds like you're trying to kill me with how boring it is being warm all over. Have they never appreciated the sheer deliciousness of sticking out a toe or a nose into the freezing cold room and just bask in the difference of temperatures going on throughout your body? After a while of sitting around like this, I decided to open my eyes. As usual, an unusual choice for a man like me, who usually likes to have his eyes closed while in bed. It helps me appreciate how snug and warm, but sometimes also cold I am while I'm all wrapped up in there. You might be surprised to hear that I enjoy closing my eyes, what with how much I usually walk around with them fixed open, staring and thinking about things. But it's true. There's something nice about that proper darkness you get with closed eyes. It was much better than this half-assed midnight darkness that was all over the room now. I hated it. I must not have kept quiet about this fact because Queequeg suggested that we light a lamp, what with us being so awake and all. So we did so. Queequeg said that he fancied a smoke and asked if I'd like to smoke together with him. I did. You might recall a while back I said I wasn't so keen on sharing a bed with a smoking man, but you know what changes opinions and prejudices? That's that's right. Love. Queequeg and I shared that pipe like I shared that blanket with great enthusiasm. The landlord could go get fucked with his insurance. We were here for a good time and not a safe time. So we smoked, chatted, tickled, and dozed in a little cloud of smoke until Queequeg started blurting out his entire backstory. We were very high and tired, and I didn't really understand most of the words or references, but I'll recount that story the best I can right now. What a great chapter.
Chapter 12. Queequeg's entire life story. Queequeg was a native of Rokovoko, an island far away to the southwest. It is not drawn on any map. True places never are. Even when Queequeg was a little cannibal on Little Cannibal Island, was a little cannibal on Cannibal Island, being chased around by goats trying to eat his grass skirt and presumably other cannibals trying to eat him, he had always been transfixed by the glimpses and possibly the tastes of Christian sailors, and he had wanted to learn more. His family were a big deal. Kings, priests, tough guys with tough wives, all the best people you could hope to be in such a society. One day, a ship came to town. I hate that sentence. One day a ship came to town. Queequeg wanted to get on it, but the guys on the ship were like, no thanks, we're not taking cannibal children crew members on at this time. So Queequeg set up a genius canoe ambush. He paddled out onto the path he knew it would take, and hid in some kind of sea tree, and when the ship was gliding by, like a flash he darted out, gained a side, and with one backward dash of his foot, capsized and sunk his canoe, climbed up the chains, and throwing himself at full length upon the deck, grappled one of those big ring-like door-knocker things they have on boats, and swore not to let it go, even if they hacked him to pieces. Eventually the captain gave up on threatening to chop Queequeg's hands off, and told him to make himself at home. But even though he was a prince, he wasn't allowed into the captain's fancy bed, and had to make do sleeping with the normal sailors. He wanted to learn all about Christianity and all the great advances and happinesses that it held, but instead he just learned a lot about whaling. He went from being just like the Prince of Wales to being the Prince of Wales, which is the sort of joke that doesn't work so well unless it's written down. Ha! He didn't complain, though. He was like that other royal guy, the Tsar Peter, who wanted to learn about boats, and so he just went around working in shipyards. A man I can respect because he knows books are only filled with lies, and you have to learn things with your hands, eyes, and heart, not just your brain. But while he learned a lot about whales, he also learned about the civilized man. Coming here with the lofty goal of bringing back a culture bomb to improve everyone's lives on his island, Queequeg quickly came to learn that even Christians could be both miserable and wicked, infinitely more so than all his father's heathens. So Queequeg might have been disappointed for a bit. He saw what people spent money on. He saw what people did to other people, and he gave it up for lost. He said, "It's a wicked world in all meridians. I'll die a pagan." And thus, an old idolater at heart, he yet lived among these Christians, wore their clothes and tried to talk their gibberish. Hence the queer ways about him, though now some time from home. Helpfully, I suggested that he might go back home. Since his dad was probably dead, he could be a king. Queequeg thanked me for this observation, but said that Christianity had soiled his soul and that he was no longer fit to return to a place that was actually good. He couldn't do that to his people, not until he'd managed to somehow unfuck himself from all this stupid shit we have over here. I said fair enough. He went on, saying he was content to sow his seeds all over the four oceans, and instead of a royal scepter that some normal, boring king might wave around, he'd be a king of the oceans, waving a harpoon instead. "What are you going to do now, then? What's next?" I said. "I think I'll go whaling again," he said. "I'd like to go whaling," I said. He looked at me, the dim lamplight dappling across his tattooed, nightmarishly handsome face. "We will go whaling together. I will go with you, sign up on the same ship, the same watch, share the same place at dinner, the same hammock, and never will we let go of each other's hands." He seemed really intense about this, and even though I liked Queequeg a whole bunch, the pragmatist in me was saying, "Oh wow, Ishmael, you genius, you! Look at this! You've made best friends with a guy who knows whaling, which you're crap at! You don't know anything about it! You only know how to go on a boat! That's like half the job! No one would hire you on your own! Why did you ever think this would work? Lucky, lucky Ishmael!" Just to reiterate, though, I am a sailor who is good at boats, so please forgive me for that previous outburst. His story ended with his pipe's last dying puff. Queequeg embraced me, pressed his forehead against mine, and blew out the light from the corner of his mouth while we were still touching foreheads. we rolled over from each other this way and that, and very soon we were sleeping. And that's today's story.
Just one final note on it. How do they roll over from each other this way and that? Do they keep like actually rolling over each other to face different ways?
Yeah, they're playing Nightcrawlers. Just climbing over it, trying to get out of a car over the when your door won't open. You've got to climb over someone else, or on a plane, I guess. Yeah, just trying to get comfy. Unless they get too tickly and chatty again. Scissoring.
God.
Thanks, Emma.
Ishmael would be a nightmare to get sat next to on a plane.
Oh my god. I bet I was fucking sat next to him on that flight back from Japan that time. There was this fucking hefty German dude who was really big, like gut spilling over onto the armrests big. Also about 9 foot tall. And he spent the entire flight he spent smelling bad. So bad that I got a nosebleed. And he spent half of it just staring at my screen, seeing what I was watching. And that's what Ishmael would do.
Yeah,
he'd get half the story and he'd like get pissed off looking at what someone else is watching. And then he fell asleep on my shoulder. And that was... I guess that could be an Ishmael move.
You're his Queequeg.
Ah. Yeah, this is what happened, isn't it? That's a shame. Someone did drive the trolley into his head, so that was good. Alright, cool. So, hope you've enjoyed that one. We'll be back again next week with a chapter called... I'm excited, Andy. Do you want to tell them what next chapter's called?
Oh, wheelbarrow.
Wheelbarrow. That's going to be a lot of fun. Do you reckon there's a wheelbarrow in it? Or do you think it's going to be like the chapter called Nightgown that didn't have a nightgown in it?
They might be playing like wheelbarrows. He's like, I imagine one of them's holding the other one by the leg.
Is this them still just playing around in bed because they can't get to sleep?
Yeah.
It's just the entire rest of the book. This is why it's 136 chapters or whatever.
Yeah, it's like it's 100 pages of sleepover, and then a bit of wailing.
We've got Chowder coming up soon as well.
Oh, I can't wait for Chowder.
There's a lot of these chapters are really short, actually. Oh fuck me! There's a chapter called what was it? Setology, which is really, really long.
That's about whales.
This is literally about whales. This is just a whale lecture.
Yes. That's where we're going to have to make a serious decision of like, do we edit it for modern audiences? Because one thing we saw in all those Goodreads reviews is that people don't like to learn.
They hate learning, Andy.
They hate learning. They get really angry when an author tries to teach them things in a silly made-up book.
I've got to be honest, I do agree with them. I was reading, I don't know if you'll have read them, but what were they called? The Gentleman Bastard series. It's what if Ocean's 11, but they're stealing from wizards in like fantasy Venice, and it's fucking brilliant. The first one is such a good book, and then the second one, it's like, what if we do pirates now, and to do their next heist, they have to learn to be sailors. And do you know what that involved, Andy? That involved about 90 pages of learning how to sail a ship.
Oh.
And it was fucking dull. I hated it so much. And then the third one. Oh, what's the Fantasy Oceans 11 gang gonna do next? We want you to help rig an election, but when we say rig an election, we mean just run an election campaign. We will have wizards monitoring you to make sure you don't do anything sneaky. And they don't do anything sneaky, Andy. It's just an election campaign.
I'd probably read that, actually. I think that sounds pretty fun. I think that's...
Oh, man. I enjoyed reading them, but it's like, please just do more heists.
I did find a contemporary newspaper review for Moby Dick, which says, we believe that Herman Melville knows more about whales than any living person. So I guess what we could, one thing we could take away from reading those chapters is, do we think that Herman Melville still knows more about whales than
any living person?
Yes.
Does that imply that Herman Melville is still alive?
Well, this was a newspaper review from when it came out.
Oh, okay, fine.
Yeah.
Oh, we need to get some celebrity guests on. We need some whale experts. If you're watching and you're a whale expert.
Or if you know any whale experts.
I think I saw Claire in the chat there. You probably know a fair bit about whales. You're a big shark film enthusiast. There's got to be some crossover there. We'll see. I would say the science has probably moved on.
Quite possibly.
Anyway, we should probably hop off. Just like Ishmael and what's his name? Queequeg. We're gonna blow out that lamp. And we're gonna go to bed. And by bed, I mean get ready to watch Eurovision. So I'm gonna leave us with a little bit of soothing whale sounds. And I will see y'all later. Bye-bye.
Bye.
I gotta change this end slate. It says stand by, be with you soon, but that's just not gonna happen. Disregard the graphic, folks. It's a lie.
Don't get excited.
The one thing we don't want to happen is people get excited.
That's not what you're here for, and you know it.
Alright, I'm fading up the whale sound. Bye.
Bye.